All right, so everyone's been talking a lot about AI and specifically Claude Anthropic, which has been growing crazy and being used by a lot of businesses. But if you haven't really worked with it, you don't really know what you're missing, and you're missing a lot. So there's basically three functions that are available. So Anthropic is a company that makes frontier models for AI. So think your large language learning models. That's what a lot of other software and other AI utilizes as part of its processes. So Claude through Anthropic has three functions. You've got just a standard chat function, which is what most people are used to. That's where you ask it questions, you have it sort of create some artifacts or documents, and you're just chatting with it. It's one-off. There's a desktop app to use. It's pretty easy. I recommend it. It helps with a lot of research. If you're looking for information, you're asking it questions. That's the most common thing that people know about it. The other feature that they released earlier this year is Claude Cowork. That's been really functional for people who aren't coders. What you're able to do through Claude Cowork is give it access to your computer or certain files and have it do things for you. So you just speak to it as you would giving instructions as a regular person, and it will go ahead and execute the task or try to execute the task. And again, there's different models that they have. Opus 4.8 is the current latest one as of today's date that is being utilized. It's been helping a lot of non-technical people be able to get a lot of work done. And actually that was kind of my first experience with it, was using a combination of Claude Chat, and then I got to Claude Cowork. My mind got blown. It helped me reorganize files on my desktop, in my downloads folder, being able to put together Excel sheets and forecasts and stuff like that. And that was pretty cool. But you hear so many amazing things about how this is working. It got my mind thinking, and especially because I worked with a self-driving startup before and learned a little bit about how machine learning and AI kind of works. I kind of dabbled with Python, but I wasn't really a coder by any means at all. And I had kind of forgotten all of that. But the cool thing is they also have Claude Code. So if you're a coder and engineer, that's what all these guys are doing out in Silicon Valley and all over Canada. They're able to utilize it to build software to execute the underlying task. So right now in Cowork, you might set up a task. You can even set it up to reoccur, but that's it. It's one-off, it's kind of there. But if you're trying to build like a software solution or customize stuff for you, you'll use Claude Code. The difficulty is you don't know what you don't know. You have to start to learn about front ends, back ends, how information is stored, channeled through, and to get your end result. It's a lot of trial and error. The fortunate part is you can use the Claude desktop app or phone app to do coding work as well. You save redundancies in things like GitHub, and you can make custom solutions. In my case, I've been spending the better part of this year, more than half my time, utilizing these tools to optimize our business and automate various functions. There were other workaround ways that people were doing it, piecing together solutions, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to coders to build the project out. But the reality is, no one knows my business better than me. And sometimes even if you tell somebody else, like a coder, this is what you want from it, the end result doesn't happen because maybe I'm not really communicating the pinpoint. I don't understand until I start working with it. Claude Code has allowed me to build solutions in our business, from our command center dashboard to tenant workflows to property analysis and portfolio analysis that the entire team can review and is automated. And so for anyone out there who's wondering which first place to kind of start with all of this and why everyone's really wondering why these things are blowing up like crazy, it's because you used to have to work with larger teams to execute all these things. Claude has all this information in the back end. I utilize Microsoft's VS Studio Code with a Claude extension to build a lot of this stuff. It's not easy, it's intimidating, but you gotta take the first step to learn something you don't know. Because honestly, what's likely gonna happen for a lot of folks is that as companies look to lay people off for basic admin stuff, because this software and stuff that you can build can do a lot of that, it comes down to the human relationships that you're going to be able to build and maintain in your unique insight. And I'm not saying you give Claude all your information, use Claude to build software so you maintain your data set and you're able to make decisions that let you stand apart from your competitors. That's what we're doing at Foundation Capital. And we're utilizing that to basically be able to forecast maintenance, potential acquisition deals, benchmark and compare them against industry, and being able to log all the deals in a display format that you were usually hidden in Excel sheets, workbooks, and things like that. And it's been really cool for me, having spent all this time, is engaging with a lot of our peers in the industry. I'm talking guys who have billions and billions of AUM, who they're intimidated and they're only using the chat function. So if you're a smaller person or you're someone equivalent to our size, utilizing AI, it's a great way to give you a competitive advantage to get ahead. The larger an organization, the harder it is to embed it. However, it doesn't mean larger organizations won't utilize it. You're seeing quite a bit out of the US, where a lot of these bigger companies are having their entire teams switch over to this. Even if you're a non-technical person, just utilizing Cowork or Claude Code to automate some of your underlying work so you can get more accomplished and done. So again, to recap, there's 3 ways you can use Claude. You've got Claude, just the chat function, where you can ask it questions. What are the top 5 things to look for in a multifamily property? And it'll research, and it'll look online, and it'll tell you what are the 5 things to look at. You can also give it documents to read and have it summarize stuff and tell you key insights and chat with it. The problem is sometimes you'll lose that information. The other functionality is Claude Cowork. That's where you can get to do things with your files, whether it's make it do bank reconciliation, tenant emails and communication. But it does use more RAM, and it, in my opinion, not as automatable with it, but it gets you used to it and able for non-technical people who are going to be intimidated by trying to get into the code to utilize it. And then last but not least is Claude Code. That is the most powerful capacity you have through Claude. Utilize it. If you're using it, reach out, let me know what you've built and what you're doing. But pretty much this is kind of the future. It allows small, nimble teams to really scale and grow. And if you're not using it, you're gonna fall behind. And so I recommend anyone who's maybe going through a transition or feeling kind of stuck, spend your evenings and weekends learning this stuff. It's honestly free to learn. There's a bunch of YouTube stuff. And the biggest thing that I found is just trial and error. I can't tell you how many times I've rebuilt or changed how processes and workflows work. I'm a CPA by background, right? So I got to work with larger big companies, and I understood how systems and operations work for standard operating procedures. But even then, you realize that's kind of the old way of how the process is. So you got to look at what is the old way, what are the things that I need to change right now, and what does my end automated state look like? If you like this video and you want to know a little bit more about what I'm doing with this kind of stuff, comment below or shoot me a message.